the Pod Network Entertainment.
You're listening to the Adobe Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, a series of high-level, inspirational, and educational sessions on how creativity unleashes inventive solutions that fuel the economy. In each episode, we'll be learning essential lessons through conversations with some of the brightest minds in the creative industries. I'm Angel Guerrero, founder, president, and editor-in-chief of Adobe Magazine, The Word on Creativity. Today, we'll be getting insights on one of 2023's most innovative, most exciting, and most awarded campaigns. Joining me for this chat on Scavenging for Ideas, what McDonald's Unbranded Menu's scavenger hunt can teach us about creative innovation, is the Chief Creative Officer of Burnett Manila and Publicis Group Manila, and the leader of the visionary team behind the groundbreaking campaign. His work has earned him an impressive amount of awards over years, including numerous wins at Cannes Lions, D&AD, Spikes, the Effie, AMEs, One Show, and Clio, leading to his well-deserved induction of the Philippine Creative Guild Hall of Fame. It's an absolute honor to welcome today's guest, Raoul Panes.
Hello, Angel.
Hi, Raoul. Really lovely to have you here.
Yeah.
Finally, we can get to sit down. A
Happy
lot
to
of our
be here.
interviews have sort of been on email or, it's great to have a podcast with you finally. And congratulations to all of you've achieved with the campaign Unbranded Menu for McDonald's.
Thank you. And I'm happy to be here talking about the work outside of people from the agency and the clients. It's good to share knowledge about the work with people like you.
Thank you. We're really honored to have you here. So, before we start, I just wanted to go through why we chose this campaign, why we invited you over, is because we know that McDonald's Unbranded Menu has won, I believe, in my point of view, I've been to a lot of award shows, one of the most awarded campaigns in a single year. I'm just going to rattle through some of the top awards that Unbranded Menu has won. Leo Burnett for McDonald's. It won the Spikes Grand Prix, 2 golds and a silver. AdFest, 2 golds. Clio, silver and bronze. Cannes, silver and bronze. New York Fest, 2 golds. MadFest Grand Prix of the Year, One Asia Best in DM, Gaming and Social Media, and the local awards. It won the IMAP Best of Show. It also won the Kidlat, Grand Kidlat. My goodness. And there are more, I have to say, because there are merit shortlists that Unbranded Menu went through. So just so you understand what the Unbranded Menu is all about, maybe you can give us a short synopsis about this campaign,
Yeah, sure.
Raoul?
Was really McDonald's and Leo Burnett hijacking the gaming multiverse, as we call it. It was hinged on this observation that, as you play games, you see a lot of McDonald's-like or McDonald's food-alikes, as we call them, floating around, burgers, fries, nuggets. And you see them in various games, whether it's retro games or role-playing games or sports games. So we thought, there must be a way to put them all together in a menu of sorts, ask people to screenshot this food items and share it with them, with McDonald's, and in return they'll get the real thing. So it's about the virtual becoming real in terms of the food that they spotted and that they want to have.
So they call it like a hijack or
It's
a
a
hack
hijack
of the
as they
gaming
call it.
multiverse. Well, thank you for sharing that synopsis of Unbranded Menu. Now, how did your team come up with the idea, though, for Unbranded Menu in the first place? What was the seed it grew from?
Yeah. We have this great collaboration with McDonald's as our clients. We have a system which we call the open brief system, wherein, we come to them with ideas for their business, and it really stems from us understanding more their business, knowing their products, their services. So we had that we have that going on for so many years now. And deep in the pandemic, we were still working as as you all know. We still had that open brief system happening. We looked into gaming as an opportunity. Uh, McDonald's has been into gaming previously. They were sponsoring esports tournaments and all that. But it can be very expensive doing that. It can be very predictable.
True.
A lot of us were playing games, video games during that time, and one of the creatives noticed this, this thing happening where whatever game he plays, he'd spot a McDonald's burger or fries and all that, and then we started talking about it, and the rest of the team were sharing the same thing, and it all started from that, and we crafted it. I mean, I can talk to you about it later, how we crafted it, but it really started from that. A lot of us playing games during the pandemic and spotting this opportunity for McDonald's and just crafting it and then selling it to the client later.
So it's really a great system, I think, when you talk about open brief,
Yeah.
right? You actually let any ideas come to fore and then try and pitch it to client fundamentally.
Yeah, but we put some discipline to it
Okay.
because typically, it would be a free for all, right?
Right.
I mean, any idea goes, but we keep it grounded on certain briefs that we identify for certain products or certain services, so that we have a structure to it, and then we pitch ideas for all of these briefs. We come up with hundreds of ideas. We in a 2-3 month process, we select the best ones, and we end up with, I don't know, 8 to 10 that we present to the client, and we have a pretty good batting average in
average.
terms of selling them. Yeah.
No, it's great that, I mean, in the rush and in the speed of work that we do in ad agencies, that you have this in place where you give, I would call it therapy, situations in the agency where they get to do other stuff aside from day to day. And I guess it embellishes their creativity and allows them to really just speak up and push it to clients.
It's a system that we have in place, in that anyone can come up to me, even an accounts person can come in and say, hey, I have this idea, or somebody from social, and then we talk about it and then see if it's worth pursuing. If it is, we'll put our resources behind it in terms of people who will craft it and think some more about it, and then execute it well.
So, I know you have a very strong and long-lasting relationship with McDonald's. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's over 10 years, probably
Over
15.
10 years, yeah.
And, you've have trust with your clients. I know Margot Torres, who was head of marketing then, and now it's Oliver. Our clients that have been advocates of great work, right? When you presented the unbranded menu, what was their reaction to it at first? Did they buy into it right away?
Yeah.
Was there resistance?
We presented it as part of a pool of ideas, and they immediately bought into it. I mean,
Great.
they recognized the value of it, and how it could help the business and how they could save money, of course. So there was no hesitation in terms of approval. It was really what happens next that took some time. When do we do this? How do we do this? What kind of scale do we want, and all these things. Getting it sold wasn't too difficult. I guess it was really about making sure that the idea was strong even before we sell it was the crucial one.
And so the process took some time, didn't it? It's how many months did it take to see it happen?
More than a year, actually. We started working on it, I think, middle of 2021. We got to sell it towards the last quarter of 2021, and we implemented it last quarter of 2022.
Because you also mentioned when we were had a conversation that it's also their cycle because they have campaigns planned throughout the year.
Yes.
So when a new idea comes, you have to decide at what point do you launch this campaign because they already have plotted out the
Yeah.
campaigns for the year.
As big brands would have, they have a marketing calendar. So you have a whole year plotted out with, on this month we launch this, or we sustain this, we do this promotion during this time and all that. So that's all mapped out already. So it's really finding the right spot for unbranded menu during the year. I think we were planning to do it sometime middle of the year, but for one reason or another, we had to push it back, and then we ended up sometime November, and people were getting nervous that, you know, it's going to be Christmas soon, and then
Yes.
there's the
Imagine
Christmas
launching in
rush.
November, yeah.
Yeah, but I said we should do it this year already.
Okay.
We've waited so long for the rest of the year, so let's do it. Let's just do it well. We had the system in place already, and yeah, it worked very well, thankfully.
You tapped into Alodia, who's one of the biggest gamers, female at that, in the Philippines with 7 million followers. She was probably a catalyst as well to the success of the campaign.
For sure, she was. And it wasn't just her. We had several other influencers. The use of influencers was very deliberate.
Okay.
We understood the gaming community as people who are averse to big brands intruding into their gameplay and all that. So we wanted to bring in the campaign through people they respect, people they follow, people they like. Aloja, of course, is on top of that tier. But we looked into a lot of influencers. We classified them according to reach, according to platforms played, because gamers play different platforms, right? They have PlayStation, Xbox, PC, and mobile. Identified who these people are, and yeah, we collaborated with them. They started the ball rolling, so to speak, and then the brand jumped in when the conversation was happening already.
So the games are Sims, Resident Evil,
Among
Yakuza,
others, a lot
Fall
of
Guys.
others.
So what I was going to ask you is, right, it's hashtag, this is a McDonald's, right? It's a hunt for it.
This is McDonald's. Yeah.
This is
Hashtag.
McDonald's
Yeah.
hashtag. So yeah, it's interesting. You know, I was saying that the burgers and the fries and the Big Macs look like they're McDonald's Big Macs in games like The Sims,
Yep.
Yakuza, Final Fantasy. When you go and look at all the French fries and burgers, they tend to look like McDonald's.
That's how iconic the brand is. Even when unbranded, there's a certain familiarity with the way they're stacked, the way they're packed, and that's what makes McDonald's a global iconic brand, right? The red fry box, the way the Big Mac is stacked with the cheese peeking out. It's iconic images for McDonald's. So yeah, we have a lot of these floating around, and there would be those that may look generic, but because McDonald's is the iconic brand, you can easily brand it as McDonald's, right? So a lot of these food items floating around in the gaming multiverse. How we came into Unbranded Menu, the insights into all these, yeah, there were two key observations. One was, as I discussed earlier, seeing a lot of these things, these food items, these food alikes floating around in the gaming multiverse. The other thing is we observed that gamers love to screen grab images from their gameplay, whether it's to boast about a certain achievement or to highlight a certain find in a game. They'd screenshot these images, share it with friends and all that. So we thought that works nicely with this hunt wherein, you just ask people to screen grab these images, and this can become coupons in return, which McDonald's will give them, and they get the food for free. In fact, at the initial stage, we called the campaign Screen Grub, as in GRUB.
Okay.
We fell
Screen
in love
grub,
with the
okay.
pun, and then we were so in love with it. But when we looked back and then we shared ideas with other people, there was this bigger idea of having a menu across the gaming multiverse. So we opted to go with a bigger name.
But, I think it's genius. I think the genius of the idea is discovering that in the gaming world there's so much food, and it happens to be burgers and fries, and your team latched into it.
Yep.
And I think you also managed to hack it in a way that you don't spend like other brands do in gaming. You know how the big brands just put their brands straight out into the game. That's why I think it's genius. It's unbranding a menu and getting gamers involved.
And you don't spend on sponsorship.
Yes,
You
I can
spend.
imagine how tremendous the fees are for
Yeah.
sponsorships. So
And it will take years before you get to embed a lot of development, a lot of negotiations, and all
that's
that.
true. So yeah, that's genius in that work. I can see why it did so well because it's just clever that you're able to use and latch into that. We also know that gaming is currently gaining momentum, right? As a major consumer touch point. What advice would you give brands looking to reach their audiences to this platform? I mean, you've done it in an untraditional way, but there are brands that want to get into here because it's huge. There are 40 million Filipino players right now in the country.
Yeah, first, I think brands have to dispel themselves of this notion that gamers are exotic creatures, that they're a special breed of people, that they're just, they're just people who play games by themselves and deep into the night. But the truth is, gamers are everybody. If you go out in the streets, you see a security guard playing on his phone, while he's on duty. uh, any one of us would have played mobile games, right?
Yes, I think Mobile Legends is the big one, the popular one, yeah.
And people decompress, even adults decompress after work and play their favorite games. I play NBA on PlayStation after work.
Okay.
So everybody's a gamer in that sense. So if you're aiming for the broad market, you're actually talking to everybody. The other thing is you need to respect their environment, meaning, don't just go in there splashing your logos into the gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of players don't want
Intrusion.
brands to intrude,
Yeah.
right? That's a game theory you were talking about earlier. That
Yeah.
they don't like that.
I'm sure
Yeah.
the gaming experts can talk more about this, but it's really just simple logic, right? I mean, you're doing something sacred, something that you value, and here comes a big brand shouting their names at you. It's so
But they like rewards. Gamers
yes,
thrive on rewards.
yeah.
So
But I would say it's also common in the sense that a lot of brands would offer rewards as well. So it's how you do it. It's how you make them excited about it. That's the question. So I'm sure there are other ways to bring them into your brand's world, but it's really about understanding the gamers intimately, and then knowing what they like, what they don't like, knowing who are the people that they respect, all these things. If you're looking into particular games, study the gameplay and see how you can make it work for your
well,
brand.
as you said in the open brief, a lot of people, the young people, play so many games, you play games, so you understand your own psyche in order to apply it, right?
My limited gaming experience.
What do you play now, Raoul?
I just play NBA.
That's it. Okay.
I used to play a lot during my
Okay.
younger days, but because of time,
Sure.
you only choose the ones that you like best. I tried to play role playing games also, but it takes a lot of time to do these things. So
Well, I was talking to your client, Margot Torres, some years ago. And of course, clients have ambitions to win in international awards, right? They do say, I want to can gold. I want to do all of this. But, there's certain things in the process. I mean, I think we talked about it before that stops them from achieving that. I mean, the process itself sort of kills the ambition. But how do you think what has the campaign's international success taught you about Filipino creativity's place in the global stage, and how do we measure up to the rest of the world? And also, how do we get clients to really buy into the idea that you have to be globally good and benchmark against the rest of the world creatively?
well, first, of course, we're not the first Filipino winner in international shows. So there have been several great campaigns that have won
Yeah.
in the past. And that just proves that Filipinos can be up there as well on the global stage with great ideas, great execution. It's always a marriage of idea and execution and how you present them on case videos. And that takes a lot of time in terms of crafting the quality of the work. In our case, we had a lot of help from our regional and global creative peers. We shared the idea. We listened to what they thought about the idea because there are certain nuances that we take for granted that they will notice or that we assume they know, but they wouldn't, especially on Pinoy things. So I think Filipinos can make it there. It's really a matter of crafting and ideation, making sure that your ideas can go toe to toe with the world's best. And to make that happen, of course, we need great clients, and we're very lucky to have McDonald's as our partners here. They're very open to creative ideas. Of course,
Yeah, they have a tradition of that. I mean, just the year prior, you had McClassroom that did so well.
Yeah.
And I remember one of the biggest campaigns was years ago, Karen. There was also McDonald's. So, you do have a legacy of doing great work for McDonald's.
the brand, the marketing people in McDonald's are very much into it, and they know that if you do great work, it translates to great sales as well. I mean, it should help the business, right? We're not doing this for art's sake.
But what if clients do say, I want to win, but you try? I've talked to some agencies where, clients said they want to win a gold lion, but then when you show them an idea, what's the hurdle there? Why are they not accepting of that idea, period, and letting the agency run with it?
I
It
think
happens quite a lot.
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's letting the agencies run with it because you still need to partner with the clients in terms of shaping the idea, shaping the execution, getting the right results. But there needs to be a lot of unlearning, I think, in terms
Okay.
of how you view the work, how you what kind of messaging do you want. I know that there are quite a number of clients and brands that always say they want to win in Cannes, but unfortunately, it doesn't translate in terms of the actual work because some of them, when they look at the work, they go back to their old habits.
Yeah.
They have this checklist.
Checklist. It calls it a checklist. It should be this way. It should
Things
follow
that-
that. Okay.
yeah.
All right. Yeah, so we have to tell clients, hey, you have to have more guts here and trust intuition. And I think agencies really, aside from, of course, getting the accolade of winning, also want to build your brands. I think fundamentally every agency wants to help and partner with the client in achieving their marketing or brand objectives.
It should always work for the brand, right? I
Always,
mean,
yes.
it's not about the agency winning
Yes,
just for
no,
the sake
I
of
agree.
winning. It should work for the brand, and consequently, it will also work for the agency.
And what's nice is, as Raoul was saying, Philippines can compete directly in the international market. Internationally, we have in the past, but I think the competition's tougher, and you have to really craft the case study, right? There's a lot of
Yes.
investment put in
Yes.
case study development that you have to share it with your global peers to look at it, because sometimes you see it from a local perspective, but you realize it has to appeal to an international audience.
And it's a painful process, as we like to say, and we embrace that. Right now, we're in the midst of doing case videos with collaborating with our regional peers, and it's taking a lot of time, but it's really part of the process.
I agree.
You know, a lot of back and forth, a lot of
So after spending a year doing unbranded menu, there's another few months doing the.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on to another topic of AI and creativity. That's the conversation of today, of course. It's
AI, yeah.
in the buzz of every conversation I go through. So where do you see AI taking creativity in the future, and how do you feel this technology will impact our industry?
it's a tool, right? And we're embracing it. We have people in the Publicis group here locally who are already using it. They're doing storyboards with AI. We're doing voicing with AI.
Yeah, that's interesting. You mentioned that voicing with AI.
Yes, you just type your script and out comes the voice.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, and you can choose your voice. Yeah, it's out there, and you can use this as tools for presentations and all that. We have creatives who have done deep fakes to convince the clients to use this endorser, so you actually see the endorser mouthing the endorsement lines already. So
Fantastic. Can I should do that. My goodness.
that can happen. But of course, with technology, it's all about how you use it and using it with care and a lot of responsibility.
Does it take away from the creative process or the creative thinking or the genius of creativity when that's all given to you? So easy,
It can, but you shouldn't allow it, right? Yeah, my analogy. Yeah, I had this in previous conversation with you. My analogy to this is it's like running, right? You can run on a treadmill where everything is automated. You have the speed controlled, the inclination controlled. You can have a nice view of a seaside path as you run on a monitor, and then you can do this every day if you want. But if you're somebody who wants to get better at running, you have to hit the streets, right? Feel the sun on your skin, feel your feet pounding on the gravel. All these things you should experience as well. So don't rely on technology to do everything for you, because you'll get lazy. Your ideas will probably be in a certain mold, as against letting your human instincts be more experimental and wide. Use it as a tool to learn new things, to experiment. Experimentation, I think, is the way we use it a lot for. We do case video versions with actual voicing, with AI voices, to test out various messaging and all that.
So much fun, like so much fun, yeah.
It's all there.
Okay, we got to try it, guys, a little more using voice and doing actual video deep fake and all of that.
And you can have AI interview me.
Indeed, that's where it's going. But again, trust your emotion, and you have to feel, you have to touch things,
Yes,
tangible
yes.
things. to grow the creative mind. Now you talk about tools, right? You have tools, and I understand that Publicis creatives benefit from resource and talent sharing systems like the Marcel system and Publicis Bench. How does that work for
Yeah.
you?
Marcel is this whole ecosystem that we have across Publicis Group, right? Of course, a few years ago, we famously stopped entering in award shows to save the
Yes, I
money.
remember that was big news. What year was that? Pre-pandemic.
Pre-pandemic, yeah,
Pre-pandemic.
yeah.
Publicis Group and Leo Burnett was saying, "We're not entering awards." I said, "What the hell? You're not entering awards? What? Why? We're going to build Marcel," and everyone was skeptical.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Why are you investing? In fact, you didn't enter for 2 years.
Yeah.
At the international. This is globally. No agency
Globally.
of Leo Burnett entered the international, and the budget went to creating Marcel. So you know the history of it. Now we're going to understand from Raoul how Marcel works.
It's in place now, so it's part of our working environment. Everything's there. We do evaluations through that system. There's a section there on career conversations, as we call it. There are brand stories there. There are campaigns that are curated per brand, per region, per area. There are collaborations in there. You know, if you want to work on a certain brief, there are briefs out there, and you can volunteer and say, I want to give my ideas to this brand in Latin America, and if your work gets chosen, you will get recognized for that. So everything is in there. AI is also there. We have a lot of people getting into it and learning a lot of things with AI. It's all there. So it's the world in your computer, and it keeps us connected globally as well. I don't think any other network has that at this
So you have
moment.
experts in AI, tech,
Yeah,
all these
yeah,
tools,
they're-
all
they're there.
there, and data.
Yes, all the experts are in the
Amazing.
system.
Yeah, you're one of the few networks that I know that has that capability to that extent. So, wow, I'm glad you benefit from that. Now, you mentioned that one of the biggest impacts of working on the campaign Unbranded menu was you gave you a better understanding of how younger creatives operate. Now, in complete honesty, do you think the future of our ad industry is in good hands right now? Because, the way we were growing up, when we learned advertising, it was really, I think, the hard process. We
Yeah,
did it.
yeah.
Now the young come I don't know, they come on top of everything without much training. They just jump in the job and do it. So are we in good hands when the young take over?
I think so.
Okay.
I'm not the type of creative leader or grizzled veteran who says, the way we did it 20 years,
years
ago,
ago.
is the best way to do it.
Yeah.
Times change. The younger people have their own ways of working, and you just have to respect that. Of course, you have to coach them, mentor them in a way that they're able to operate in a system like an advertising agency, communications company, because there are certain disciplines to work in there, right? You have to beat deadlines.
Oh, yes.
You there's a brief
The dreaded
and all
deadline.
that. But I'm amazed by the talents that we have. A lot of talents. I attended portfolio night before. And
Yeah.
a
The
lot
one
of-
the one Adobo hosted last
Yes,
year?
yes.
Yeah, thank you for being there. Yeah.
a lot of great talents in there. Some of them are now with us as
I'm
as,
glad you hired some
trainees-
of them. Wonderful.
as trainees, and they're doing very well.
Well, thank you to One Show for that, hosting the first portfolio night in Manila, and you benefit.
I'm sure the other mentors have also hired.
They did. It's great though. It's
Yeah,
great to
yeah.
hear. Okay.
So they're very much into digital, So I learn a lot from them. This whole experience on Unbranded Menu, I worked with a lot of young people. Of course, the idea started from Leo Burnett, but yeah, in Publicis Group we have several agencies across the group, and we have what we call Publicis Bench, wherein we can have people collaborating with other people in another agency. So we did that. We brought in people who love gaming, young people most especially, and we all formed this one big group, and we would have regular meetings talking about the progress of the work, assigning people to do this and do that. So that worked out very well. So the youth, is the
So, we grew up
future.
in the era of art and copy, right? Learning to write copy, art direction. What is it now?
The lines are blurred, I would think, with some people, some talents, and that's great. But I also don't discount the value of people who stick by copy as their main discipline and really hone their craft in there. In the same way with art direction, it's really a question of are is art and copy are art and copy able to work well together to come up with the best ideas. It may come from just one person,
Yeah. Not a team like before.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But I would say you still need the help of several other people. Just to, I mean, you can come up with the idea, but you will have other people helping you out to make sure that it comes out to be
But I have
the
to say, I
best.
do miss art direction and ads that are, print ads that used to be stunning in art direction. Anyway,
That's another
yeah, I
conversation.
know
I guess.
altogether. Now, after all your unprecedented success in 2023, where do you go from there? I mean, how do you plan on topping all of that after such a great year last year? You have something in the pipeline that you
Yeah.
can share with us?
We can't right now, but for sure, like any ambitious agency, I would say, you never want to rest on your laurels, right? You won last year, and that shouldn't be the end of it. No one trick pony. So yeah, last year, even as we were winning, we were already working on
Something
several
else.
campaigns, and we're still working on them. That's how it goes. That's the cycle of doing creative work in the agency. So there are several projects in the pipeline, and hopefully they get some recognition, and you hear about it soon.
Well, thank you very much for that, Raoul. Let's have a toast to whatever we have in this mug. We're cheers.
Cheers, Angel.
Cheers to that, Raoul. Now, we're all very excited to see what you and your team cook up this year. And that's all the time we have for this episode. Thank you for listening to and watching this episode of the Adobo Talks podcast with our guest, the brilliant Raoul Panes. The Adobo Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, is available on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Adobo Magazine's platforms. The Adobo Talks podcast, The Business of Creativity, is produced by Adobo Magazine, The Word on Creativity, in partnership with the Pod Network, and recorded here in this beautiful studio in partnership with Hit Productions. Tune in next week for another insightful conversation with one of the brightest minds in our creative industries.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.